As more details emerge from the tragic passings of acclaimed actor Gene Hackman and wife Betsy Arakawa, we thought it was important to address the cause of Arakawa's death. Hantavirus, though rare, is highly infectious to humans. Let's welcome Dr. Joel Montgomery, Director of the Division of Health Consequence Pathogens and Pathology at the CDC. So glad that you could join us. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So Arakawa's death was determined to be hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. This is a rare case, is it not?
It is rare in the United States. This virus actually was first discovered here in the United States back in 1993. So we've known about this viral infection and this virus for actually several years. It is actually transmitted from rodents to humans, which would happen in this case, actually. But it is rare. Since we've been working on this virus and the discovery in 1993, there have been over 900 cases identified in the United States.
Wow. And I think it was very shocking that this was such a high-profile case involving hantavirus. How exactly is it spread? And you mentioned rodents. Is there one particular type of rodent? Is it multiple types of rodents, species?
Yeah. It's a really good question. Actually, the more we study this virus, the more we learn about the different rodent reservoirs, if you will, the different species of rodents that transmit this virus. There are some primary species. The deer mouse is the primary reservoir for hantavirus, but we do know of other rodents that do transmit similar hantavirus. There's a variety of different species of hantavirus, but it is widespread throughout the United States. We see the majority of cases in the West. It was first discovered in the Four Corners, so Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, Arizona is where it was first identified.
And why is that?
But it's transmitted.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm curious because I've read that it's west of the Mississippi is where it's most prevalent, and you mentioned the Four Corners. Why there in particular?
Right. Yeah, it's because of the species of rodents that carry it. They're predominantly found in that region of the United States. But as I mentioned earlier, the more we study this virus, the more we realize it's more widespread throughout the U.S. Because there are different species of rodents that transmit the virus. But the deer mouse, the primary vector or reservoir for this virus, is primarily found in that area of the United States. And again, it's rare, relatively rare, but the more we look, the more we find. And when you have high profile cases in this instance, it does elevate, I think, the information that's out there. People are more aware. The symptoms in the early stages of hantavirus are very nonspecific. So fever, flu-like symptoms. So you may think you have the flu or COVID or some other respiratory illness, and then it just progressively gets worse. The case fatality rate or the likelihood of dying from infection with hantavirus can be as high as 40%. So it's quite fatal, much more fatal than, say, influenza or COVID.
And how is it transmitted?
So it's transmitted from the rodents to humans, primarily through contact with their excreta, so urine, feces, saliva. So typically what happens, and this is 9 times out of 10 how people get infected, they'll go out to, say, an outbuilding, a shed or something out, and they'll sweep the floor where there's rodent droppings, urine. The virus is very stable in the environment. And so once the virus leaves the mouse and through feces or urine, it can dry and it's still infectious. So when you're sweeping a floor, it aerosolizes the virus and you breathe it in. It gets into your eyes, your nose, you breathe it in, you get infected. So that's why our recommendations are when you're cleaning out buildings that is known to have rodent infestation, you should wear an N95, protect your eyes, and better actually, you should spray bleach and disinfectant on any droppings or urine that you see that have been left behind by rodents.
That was going to be my next question. Yeah, if there's something that you can do sort of and is there anything that you can do as a prophylactic to prevent the mice from being in that spot? I mean, obviously there's rat traps and things like that, but is there anything maybe more chemically speaking that you can apply to those outbuildings that would repel them?
Yeah. So typically, like you said, use traps. What we recommend is, if you can at all, prevent rodents from coming into those buildings. So seal up holes or any areas they may be able to get through. Open windows, make sure they're closed, fill up any holes. rat traps. And then if you need to, also you can call, your local exterminator to help prevent the incursion of the rodents.
Okay. And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, we're here in the South, in the deep South, Charleston, South Carolina. So is there anything that is characteristic of this region that people should watch out for that could be similar to hantavirus or something of the like?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, we find most of these cases west of the Mississippi. There are hantavirus cases in the east. We've never seen a case in South Carolina. Doesn't mean it's not there. We do have rodents that carry hantavirus in this region, and in Georgia all the way to the East Coast. So, whenever you're in contact with rodent feces, urine, you should take precautions, monitor for any signs and symptoms of, respiratory illness. Because we do find hantavirus in the east states as well, not just the west.
Okay. All right. Dr. Montgomery, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate the information.
Happy to help.
We'll be back after this.